Hey guys, Todd with 306 Foxbody. Here's a couple things we're going to check out on the 86, and one thing we're going to do for a little bit of fun. First of all, I want to do a dB test on the exhaust. So I want to see how loud it is, see how it compares to our provincial or regional allowance for how loud the vehicle can be, how many decibels. Secondly, looking into doing some intercooling on the 86. It does have a YSI Vortex supercharger on 427 Windsor. And you know, taking the car for a spin on a cold day, does a colder weather help you with cooler air intake temperatures? Depends on the car, so I found out. And like I said, the third thing is there's a Tesla supercharger stations in our city, so I'm going to check that out and have a little bit of fun with it. So come along, let's take it from here and head over to the dB test. So here's what I'm going to do. We'll just walk around the car just to see some of the noises it's making, and then we'll do an exhaust note test. So we'll just look at the meter. Okay, we'll give her a blast up to about 3,750 RPM for a few seconds, and then we'll come back and see what it says. I'm going to go back on the video, see what it says, and might just go down the highway. We got lots of really dense air today, so just thought it'd be a little interesting thing to see how loud the car was and see how it compares to what the legal limitations are. Check out my air intake temperatures. We're just going down the highway. That's pretty warm for just a highway cruise. Well, time to put her away and call her quits for a day. And because it's just below freezing outside, I kind of thought my air intake temperatures would even be a little bit cooler. Like really, it's getting fed some pretty cool air. Yeah, right now I'm just cruising back to my garage and I'm at 124 degrees. I'm gonna let the car sit and I'll see if the ambient temperature in my garage matches the air intake temperature sensor. Make sure it's not out of whack. So right at the air intake sensor, we're reading about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to see what the sensor inside the is reading in the car compared to what it's actually reading in reality here. Here's my SDS computer system. It's old, but it works great. So air intake temperature, it says 64 degrees. And the coolant's still at 108 degrees. I know there can be some differences with the sensor by a couple degrees as long as it stays consistent. It's not a whole bunch out, but if our air intake says 64, then I wonder in this tube that says 68, 70 on the blower. So there is a few degrees difference. So it likely was at what I thought it was. I just thought it would be cooler because it's colder outside, but you know, really once it goes through the supercharger, there's already heat in it. This just goes to show that even on a cooler day, you can still benefit from intercooling. Well guys, we got the 86 out again. This is probably really the last time we'll be able to drive this car probably. It's been melting, the highways are dry. I don't think they've salted them yet, but that's not far away. We go take a picture of something. I don't know why I'm going to do this, but it's just for the hell of it. So we've got Tesla supercharger stations in our city now, over the Canadian Tire parking lot. When I was hooking the car up, you should have seen how many cars were going by and people were slowing down and looking. They couldn't believe it. I've never seen anybody charge their vehicle here yet. I don't even know if it's even hooked up, but they've got 3, 4, 5, 6 Tesla superchargers and 2 other ones. So guys, is this the future? Are we going to be swapping electric motors into our muscle cars and hot rods and everything else? I don't think so. Not yet anyways, but there's lots of people that are driving by and just staring because they're not expecting to see an older car hooked up to the supercharger stations. If you think of it, just say if a guy got an old Foxbody coupe and he got a Tesla parts car and you swapped everything over somehow, that'd be one hell of a ride. You have to admit that. So, you know, the hot rodding aspect of that, of doing a conversion for performance, you can't really argue with it, but there's just something about it when you did the work yourself. Like, sure, not all of us can do all the work, but for the most part, on a pushrod V8, and even, you know, a lot of the import guys and whoever else, some people are doing quite a bit of the work themselves, and I guess that's where we get the satisfaction out of it. And will you and your buddies be standing around the car looking under the hood, holding a beer, checking out the motor on an EV? The chances are a lot slimmer. Well guys, there's some of the results I didn't expect for the DB test. I honestly thought the car would have been a little bit louder. I might get a buddy of mine with another DB tester that's virtually a brand new one to see if there's a difference, just to see if one tester is maybe out by a few decibels. And I kind of expected the air intake temperatures to be a little bit cooler just from cruising around. You know, let's face it, if we were at, say, 80 degrees outside, and you know, as the car warms up and you're cruising around, and it might get up to 140, 150 in there. Now, today, being about 30 degrees outside, to get up to 120, well, there's a bigger difference. There's 50 degrees here, and there's, you know, 20 to 30 degrees here. So there's not a consistent difference. So going down the highway, I really thought we would see lower air intake temperatures just because it's colder outside. But obviously once the air hits the supercharger, once the air seems to hit the supercharger, it gets preheated to a certain degree, and of course compressed air gets warmer. But I still would have thought to see it colder at the air intake temperature sensor just for being outside. Of course, it's likely cooler than on a summer day, but I still thought it would have been, on average, 40 or 50 degrees colder because it's 40 to 50 degrees colder outside. The results are different than what I thought they'd be. And that's just one good excuse to show that even on a cool day, a car like this can benefit from intercooling. So, you know, 125 or so isn't a crazy amount, but we can do better. So that was interesting. Anyways, that's some of the things we did. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.